This was so fucking funny. I'll go ahead. I'll play it and you guys can listen to this. This was so fucking stupid. It's crazy.
That situation I talked about the other day with that DEI defending influencer who also like worked at Xbox.
Yeah, I remember
or
this
something.
girl.
Well, we've got a very amusing update on that situation. Also, quick side note. It turns out Asmongold reacted to that video. That was pretty cool. Glad he enjoyed that one. So really quick, this
That was me. That's me. Hey, he talking about me. Oh.
was the context. She made this thread all upset about the discourse. The discourse being gamers criticizing companies in gaming and also criticizing DI consultation companies. All of that being something that, once again, she seems very upset about. In my coverage, I gave a reasonable response and provided evidence as to why a number of her points are just wrong. The rest of her thread was her devolving into just a barrage of insult.
It was her arguing with her. She was shadowboxing with her ex-boyfriend that goes to the gym. That was pretty much what this entire thread was. It started off as complaining and it turned into trauma dumping. That's just what happened.
That completely flopped because it really just made her look extremely petty, and many people said that she just sounded like she was projecting. At the very least, it was fortunately amusing seeing her go all rage mode though. Provided some decent entertainment for the day. So yeah, that's just some very quick context for anyone who may have missed the prior segment, although of course if you want to see my full take, consider watching that for yourself. But now with that context, let's move on to the aforementioned update.
Okay.
We've got Thomas Mahler here saying, I'm the director behind both Ori games and I don't know who you are.
Bro, he hooter. This is the guy that directed the games. And so, because this girl's going around saying like, oh, I worked on these games. And this is the guy that directed the games. He's like, wait, really? Huh? What do you mean? It goes who?
And how you were affiliated with Ori.
Yeah.
In response to that Ray person saying, hey, new folks, I'm Ray. I work in the gaming industry in UX R&D plus game production. I worked on various software and hardware for Xbox. I now work as an independent media producer and had the privilege of working on the Dota Internationals 2023 and other gaming media projects. But importantly for this context, the bottom left image showing Ori.
Yeah.
Given the time.
And here's the thing, is that Thomas is right to ask about this because, like, I don't know how many times there have been, like, video games that have had, like, look at what happened with that Godot thing. Look at what happened with Helldivers with those Discord moderators. Look at what happened with, I think there's probably one more I can think of, but, like, some community manager acting weird or some person that works at the company acting like an asshole and then making it worse for everybody that works there. And so it's like you have these people that go on Twitter and they try to basically use the fact that they worked on a game, or supposedly worked on a game in this case, as pretty much a way to like make themselves look more authoritative, like, oh, you should listen to me because I worked on this successful game. And so what that ends up doing is it ends up dragging that game into the controversy. It ends up turning that video game into part of the fight. And so, of course, he's going to be mad about this because she's dragging his IP into this in order to, like, make her, like, to talk about, like video game politics, right? Especially saying that she worked on the game. You see what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that's, and so, and think about how many games that's happened to, and people have like a super negative opinion of the game. Like, oh, this is a woke game, like Concord, right? Or something else. There's been other games too that are like this, and people automatically have like a really bad sentiment of it. Why would you want that to happen?
Of how he's saying this now, I can only presume he just recently saw her unhinged rant. Okay, so get this. As I'm looking at this conversation and recording this video, I see that she's actually just protected her entire Twitter account.
Classic. Post an opinion online, be extremely hostile, and then and then when people don't like it, protect your account and act like a victim. There you go, guys.
That's going to make covering this a little bit more complicated because
Yep.
as you can see, it's also affecting her responses and we're now unable to see them. However, I've got a tab that has not yet refreshed. So while we won't be able to see all of her responses,
God.
we can at least see some of them.
Oh my God.
It looks like she responded
right.
to him saying, I worked with Xbox User Research. I was the URA for global publishing during 2018 to 2020. Nice to meet you. I also worked on various other titles during my time there, but got a better job opportunity on the Xbox community team.
So wait, this is another person that works as some sort of community manager that's like some unhinged psycho that's trying to, you know, get angry and use the company platform for them to talk about what they think? Oh my God. So she worked on Xbox User Research?
You've got to be kidding me. Why do we see so many community managers or like community team people who are some of the most unhinged and like angry at everything?
Well, here's the reason why. The reason why is because they want to tell other people what to do. And they're focused around talking to people and making people do what they want, which is going to make them naturally gravitate towards things like, for example, community management roles. That's the reason why.
Becoming a recurring theme. Anyways, that wasn't the
and also
only
it's people that like contribute no actual value to the product as well. So like these people aren't designers, they're not programmers, they're not artists, they're not anything. They're just community managers. I have a question for you. Do you at work feel Microsoft has shoved DEI expectations or pressured you? Microsoft
response that she made to him, because there's also this one where she said, oh, I have a question for you. Do you ever at any point feel Microsoft has shoved DEI expectations at you or pressured you? Now she's
How could they? Like, isn't Ori about like a walrus or something? And like a butterfly? Like, what are you gonna make a gay walrus? No? Oh. It's a spirit trying to save the forest? Oh, so there's no walrus, right? There's no walrus in the game? Okay, wrong game. All right. There's no never mind. All right, we gotta take a step back. No walrus. False alarm.
Reminded me of that Nat person from Godot, where after Asmongold gave a kind response, she then tried to get him in some sort of gotcha. It's funny how these people don't realize that.
It's always funny. This is what they said. You didn't expect to make follow through. Now that we've seen face to face, can you acknowledge that making content based off other people's drama is not really doing anything good for the world? No. No. I think it's great. I think these people are they're a cancer. And I'm happy to be the radiation. I think they're awful. They're awful. They're annoying. They're the worst kind of people. So, no, I think that I'm doing a public service. You're welcome.
They're the ones acting all crazy, and they try and pretend like everyone else is the problem.
Right.
Going back to the situation with Ray, Thomas responded to her, saying, well, that could explain it. I didn't want to cause you any trouble. I just saw you posting that you worked on Ori, and I had no idea who you are. Since you're calling people names online, I thought it was important to inform people that you never actually worked for Moon Studios, and that you didn't ever directly engage with anyone at Moon. Always be nice to people, Ray, even those you disagree with, while...
Oh, man. Oh, bro. Oh, shit. Wow. That's the thing, though, is this girl is using stolen valor, thinking that she worked on this game as if she's affiliated with them when she worked at Xbox and, like, you know, maybe, like, reviewed something for this game or something like that, trying to act like she's actually involved with the studio, trying to drag them into it and use them as her fucking cross. Like, she's trying to use them and put them on her side. It's annoying. It's so fucking funny. Yes, fucking exactly. Going around calling people names, starting drama, dragging his fucking studio into this. Oh my God. They make it so easy for these guys to come out as heroes. I don't know why they do it. It's just, what an yes, this is calling people names and shit like this is nuts.
While some people were amused by his response there, other people seem like they're extremely upset by it. It's amazing.
Nah. Someone says, you believed any of this, you'd be having this talk in DMs instead of trying to lead a harassment campaign with unprofessional grandstanding. You know who was trying to lead a harassment campaign? Is her. She literally started the series of tweets explicitly to harass people that disagreed with her. So what do you want to talk about? Like, this is the issue that they have, is people like this, they love harassing other people, but the moment they get harassed, now somebody's leading a harassment campaign against them. If it was him getting harassed, then they wouldn't have been saying anything. And especially also, like, she tried to twist what he was saying about DEI. He just wanted to say she didn't work there. Like, that's it. But she's trying to use this for a fucking agenda. That's it. She started it. Yeah, absolutely. It's not unprofessional grandstanding. It's actually very professional. If you want to go and put... If you want to use somebody else's intellectual property and say, I worked on this as a way to make your opinion more valid on the internet, you should like, even, bro, Costco, when P. Diddy got arrested, people thought that P. Diddy got the 1,000 bottles of baby oil from Costco. Costco put out a statement and they said, no, he did not. We don't sell it like that. That's not it. Take our fucking name out of this. We don't have anything to do with that fucking freak. So Costco did this, but now it's his fault whenever he did this. No fucking way. He did. They did, yes. They said, we ain't about that life. Absolutely. What's the rest of these? Any game dev that supports Grums ain't getting a cent out of me. Thanks for coin. What? I didn't want to cause any trouble after inadvertently sending hordes of people to her page that had done nothing but call her names and worse. Well, what do you mean? I mean, who do you think what was so, like, this is the problem. Is like these people, they never think. I mean, you know, big surprise. It's easy to not to think whenever you're dumb. So what do you think happens to the people that work at Moon Studio when a person goes and uses the studio and, like, is using that as a soapbox to talk about what they're like, you know, their, like, extreme political view and call people names? People are going to get mad at other people that are working at that studio because, like, look at what happened with Halo, for example. Like, so recently there's been controversy with, like, the new Halo studios, and you have everybody saying, like, oh, Halo's dead now. Well, guess what? That's the reason why. Pissed off the entire modern audience, all 12 of them? Well, to be fair, it's 66 of them. So that's more than Concord. More than Dustborn, too. She never claimed to work for Moon Studios, only Ori via her employment by Xbox. No, it's not. It's extremely fair to say. Because he doesn't want to have his studio dragged into and his IP dragged into, like, her social struggle.
How upset these people are, simply because this guy wanted to clarify that the woman who recently went viral for making a completely unhinged rant is not directly involved with his company. There's some other tweets that we're unable to see because Ray went into protected mode. However, we can also see that Thomas responded to these ones saying, I thought the post was pretty clear and concise. By the way, you're not in the credits on any Ori games, so unless you changed your name at some point.
Man, that's a good one, huh? They're trying to inject themselves everywhere? Exactly.
Based off that context, we can presume that possibly Ray has an issue with the other response that Mahler made. And now, the most pathetic thing possible is happening. To no one's surprise, some of the corpo journalists from Kotaku are getting involved. Quote tweeting Mahler's response and posting this article from 2022 from Kotaku that says, report Ori Studio accused of being oppressive, sexist workplace.
Oppressive, sexist workplace. I'm sorry to say that nobody gives a fuck whether a workplace is bad or not. Like, developers say Moon Studios' no bullshit policy gave founders license to bully and demean. For sure. Yeah, nobody cares about this. People just want to play the game. If there's an oppressive or sexist workplace, then there is a process to file a lawsuit against that. There's laws against this. So yeah, it's pretty simple, isn't it? Blizzard? Nobody gave a shit about Blizzard with that stuff. That's all done. People were mad at Blizzard for, you don't want to know why they were really mad at Blizzard? They're mad at Blizzard because of Shadowlands. Like, that's why they were fucking mad.
Developers say Moon Studios' no BS policy gave founders license to bully and
Riot
demean.
had the same shit
Even if
happen.
any of the accusations in that article are actually true.
Yeah.
It's really gross how these journalists, well, drag this stuff up 2 years later.
Well, what they do is they, these people are like publishing like unsubstantiated rumors and allegations, and then they cross-reference each other to try to make these unsubstantiated rumors and, basically allegations that are never like really proven in a lot of cases. They cross-reference each other to make it seem like it's more real. But the truth is, like, no, a lot of people don't give a shit about that.
Later, using the alleged victims in the article as their own personal army, though it is painting a very clear picture. None of the people angry with Mueller seem to have any responsive merit. They're either just like seething in their responses or reposting this. However, plenty of people would also further defend Mueller. For example, this response saying, "It's always the same untalented, useless, lazy, hate-filled people that come crawling out of the woodwork at any opportunity to try and drag someone successful down. I hope he's not stupid enough to fall for it. If they make good games, people will buy them."
That's absolutely true. Nobody genuinely cares about like the way a workplace is whenever they're buying a product, okay? Like, everybody owns phones that are made by slaves in cobalt mines. Do you think that somebody actually cares that there's an allegation of being sexist in some video game company? Nobody actually cares about this. No real people care about this. It's just, let's be honest. Everyone buy Ori 1 and 2. Exactly. I'm really glad to see that a lot of like game studios and like people like this they feel more okay to speak out against this stuff, because these people are just such obnoxious and like just like rude bullies. That's really what they are. Thank God. And like, I hope that a lot of other what do you call it? I hope that a lot of other like studios and people that work at these studios realize that, these like weirdos and like these mentally ill freaks on Twitter really don't speak for the gaming community. They never did, but for a while companies didn't know how to deal with it, so they thought they did. The fact is that all you have to do is make a good game, and that you're not accountable to anybody else other than your audience. You're not accountable to journalists. You're not accountable to a publication. You're not accountable to any Twitter user. You're only accountable to your audience. And if you realize that, it's a lot easier to make content. More and more devs are becoming aware of that. Yeah, they are. And you can see a lot of people pushing back against this type of narrative. It's because people are just fed up with it. It's obnoxious.
Adam Savvy getting involved, saying, was it oppressive because he said no once in a while to someone? Given that she admits people don't get to choose how she represents them, I see no reason for anyone to take anything she says seriously.
Who cares?
She referencing the Kotaku journalist. However, someone would respond to Savvy saying, I mean, it's Kotaku, so take it with a grain of salt. But if true, I think that's not a way to talk at the...
By writing low, you're retarded. Bro, who do you think plays video games? People that talk like this. I really need a woman. Yeah, who do you think plays video games? Who cares? Nobody gives a fuck about this. There are no real people who care about this. What is this? Completely bullshit.
Especially when you are CEO, including an image seemingly from the Kotaku article, to which Savvy responds saying, this is the worst they have. That, really? Not only is there zero context, but this is how people talk to each other when they're friends too. The "I really need a woman" remark is probably from a string of jokes being made. The other person retorts saying, sure, friends. But truth is, there is no friends at work. Especially if you're on the higher position than your supposed friends. Sure, not really a big deal, but still not a good look.
A good look to who? Who cares? Am I supposed to care about this? Why would I care about this? Why? Why is this my problem? Like, what? I don't care what's... It's what? It's just like, why? Like, imagine, like, this is... Yes, what? Twitter judges, yes.
And the current final response in this conversation here from Savvy saying, people will value those words accordingly. If that's a red flag for you, that's totally okay. For me, it isn't. I'd actually hate to work at a place that didn't use that kind of language. You can still have corpo structure mixed with friend structure, just so long as you have respect for who's in charge at the end of the day. But everyone views workplaces different. So you saw this part, which is some of the evidence that they're trying to use against Mahler. However, there's also a little bit more than that.
Oh, here we go.
In this next section, they say that Mahler insisted on having the main character's origin story revolve around something very dark, and that allegedly Mahler wanted to do this to motivate the character to end up being a very cool character who does very cool things. And sure, that's a very dark and very terrible thing to happen to that character. It is just a character, though. And many characters throughout fiction have had equally bad or even worse things happen to them. I think we can confidently say that these journalists would absolutely hate Berserk. And my gosh, I can only imagine.
Like, who do they think cares about this?
They'd say
it's unbelievable.
About my last
what
Hearts
is
of Iron
this?
4 campaign. Anyways, it's pretty amusing how all of this started once again because Ray wanted to make that giant unhinged rant. She just really wanted to defend DEI. Gotta defend those DEI consultation firms. Go figure that all of this would attract gaming journalists to run to her defense. Hopefully Ray will have some self-reflection while she's protected on Twitter and realize that all of this was really unnecessary and unhinged, and you know, there's no reason to act like this trying to bootlick for these consultation firms and all that. Maybe she'll actually turn a new leaf. Let me know what you think.
I hope that a lot of, like, she's not going to turn a new leaf. She's just a mentally ill, obnoxious, like, community manager. There's nothing that's ever going to change. She's never going to get better. There's never going to be a point where, like, she's like, oh, wow, I'm actually an asshole. That's never going to happen. But here's the way I see it. You look at these kinds of people, are gamers in here? I'm not sure. But with these kinds of people, yesterday, all of her handles were offline. I have no idea whether she, like, turned off her stuff or not. But, every time he does, stupid AU breakdance. Oh, I don't know about that. The video isn't full. There's more of it. Well, maybe there is.
Think about all of this in the comments. And as always, thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed my coverage, please also consider liking and or subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yeah. I'm gonna be real. Why they send me that one? That's crazy.
Wow, welcome back, guys.
Here's the truth. Is that I think a lot of these game studios are starting to realize that these types of publications and these types of people are no longer the gatekeeper to audiences. And it's good to see different heads of studios just kind of telling them to shut the fuck up. And like, no, we don't want to have anything to do with you. We're just making video games. Leave us alone, fucking weirdo, right? So yeah. And if it is a problem, then there's like a whole, like, this is a great video. I remember seeing this whenever it was happening on Twitter. It was so fucking funny. I prefer a boss talking like that. A lot of people do. We need to support more mental hospitals. We need funding. Well, I think it's also really important to support people that are like Thomas here, because you want to make sure that these people know that they're not the minority. Like, the people that think like him are actually the vast majority. Most people don't want to be talked down to by somebody who feels like they're trauma dumping whenever they're complaining about some bullshit. Like going to the gym, like what the fuck? Like this is the, this is massively one-sided. And there's only a handful of people that try to make this a big problem, and those people have bad intentions. Most rational people don't give a damn and remain silent. I think so. And they'll buy the game if they like it, and they won't if they don't like it. So what I think is going to happen in a lot of cases is that these studios are going to realize that, and they're going to realize, like, catering to these kinds of people gets you games like Concord. It gets you games that nobody plays. Lawler's being quite civil in his responses, and yet they tried to discredit him. That's because the only way that they have to do this is by implying that there's some sort of like bad thing that a person is doing. Like these are, they're like basically manipulators and like gaslighters and like emotional vampires. So the best thing that you can do for a person like that is just not give them any of your energy. And like what happens is that when you let a person like that control the narrative becomes retarded. And that's what's happened, is that you have these people, fundamentally, these people are going around and telling other people what to do. I don't want to have some annoying, obnoxious girl that's trauma dumping on Twitter telling me what to do, what to say, what to think. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to see that. And also, if you're going around and like posting, this is what I think is really funny, is that there are people that are like, oh, I'm being harassed. You want to know, I can give you, guys, I can give you a perfect technique on how to not be harassed for having opinions on the internet. Stop putting your opinions on the internet. It's literally that simple. But a lot of people don't really seem to understand that. Yeah, turn off the monitor. Letting them fade in obscurity. Exactly. And so, yeah, Moon's working on a Souls-like now, something journalists don't play. Yeah, the No Rest for the Wicked was pretty good. I played it for a while. I haven't finished the demo. I kind of stopped playing it, but I enjoyed it a lot whenever I was. But anyway, the internet isn't a one-way street. Exactly. And so, yeah, you can think it. And so I want to say that also, like, people that are talking about, like, a harassment campaign and stuff like this, I want to let you know that, like, I get harassed on Twitter all the time for opinions that I have because I have a public platform and I use that platform to express my opinions to the public. And that's something that I welcome. I might not necessarily enjoy it, but I respect its right to exist. And so if I see negative tweets about me or people that are taking what I'm saying and getting mad about it, that's just the way it is. That's freedom of speech. And so if these people don't want to get harassed for their opinions, stop putting your opinions out there. Because also being disagreed with isn't being harassed. Like when people are telling you you're wrong, stop being rude, you're not being harassed. You get heat just for YouTube thumbnails? I don't care. Who gives a shit? Wow, some people are mad that I made a YouTube thumbnail. Like I have like some sort of like YouTube reaction face for like some natural disaster, and people are like, this guy would have live streamed 9/11. I would have. Absolutely, I would have. 100%. I want to let you know that yes, if I was streaming during 9/11, I absolutely would have live streamed the Twin Towers, and there would have been a video that we uploaded, and it would have been me. Oh my God, they're crashing. I would have done it. Everybody would have done it, and I'm not sorry. And the next natural disaster and the next horrible tragedy, I will do the exact same thing for, because that's the same thing that every news platform does. That's the same thing that every newspaper does. And even if it wasn't, I'm not accountable to you, and I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want. And also, it seems like people like the content, so why would I listen to you whenever I could just listen to my audience instead? So that's how I see it. People love to cry and get mad. Yo, chat, chat, did they just hit the second tower? Bro, is this real? Wait, there's somebody in chat saying something about like Jews doing this. Wait, what do you mean by that? The name is Alex Jones. What, hold up. What's this? Why do you say that? Building 7. Hold up. Wait a minute. All right, guys, how hot is it to melt a steel beam? What is that? They're dancing. Yeah, there's a second plane. Exactly. No, of course I would be doing that shit. So yeah, if you don't want to get harassed on the internet, stop putting your opinions on the internet. It's real simple. It's real easy. And I know that a lot of people have trouble with it, but it's really just that simple.